Okay, so today I want to go over the best way to get protein in your diet. Let's get into it. So, first of all, this is like my bag of protein right here. Got a bunch of different items of foods that I eat that all are good protein sources. But quickly, what I do want to go over is that you should be eating, if you're trying to build muscle, 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight every day. So just a quick little overview of what that actually means if you don't understand it. Let's say you weigh 200 pounds, right? 200 times 0.7 would be 140, which means you should be having 140 grams of protein a day. So basically, simple, whatever your body weight is, pull out your calculator on your phone, multiply by 0.7, whatever number you get, that is the minimum number of grams of protein you should be eating every day. So typically, I usually eat a little bit more. I'm around 185 right now, and I actually try and get a gram per pound of body weight-ish. Sometimes a little lower, sometimes a little higher, but I eat somewhere around there. So now let's go over these protein sources. So all of these are gonna have different amounts of protein in them. I'm gonna give you guys like ranges of about how much protein is in them, because some of it's gonna depend on the cut of what it is. Obviously, a lot of these are gonna be like meats and stuff, and also just the amount you're actually eating, because the amount of protein is per serving, but if you have 2 or 3 servings of said amount, you're obviously gonna have more. So the first one, I'm actually gonna start with what I typically do for my breakfast, eggs. So eggs have about, I believe it's 7 grams of protein. Let's see if it says it in here. This is 6, so it's 6 grams of protein per an egg. But the good thing with eggs is you're typically not just gonna eat one. Most people don't eat one egg. A lot of times in the past, I've done like 6 eggs, so 6 times 6 will be 36 grams of protein in the morning, quick and easy. So eggs are a great protein source. Additionally, this is what I actually am currently doing for my breakfast, is I do 1 egg with egg whites. Why? Just because, honestly, right now, just because of the egg shortage, it's easier to use up less eggs and then just combine it with egg whites to get the same amount. But egg whites, also, if you're trying to cut, egg whites have way less calories. There's about 70 calories typically in an egg. A serving of egg whites, which would be like the equivalent of an egg, would be 25 calories. So you're getting about a third of the calories, and it has 5 grams of protein. So you lose 1 gram of protein, but if you're cutting, and just due to the fact that eggs are expensive and there's not a lot of them right now, this is what I combine it with for my breakfast. Now, that's not all I have for my breakfast, actually. I do have one other thing. So I do a bowl of Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is a great source of protein, especially for a breakfast. So there's about 5 servings in this, right? Typically I eat, I guess it would be 2 servings of this. So in 1 serving, there's 150 calories and 14 grams of protein. So think about that. If I did 2 servings of this, that's 28 grams of protein right there. Then I added an egg, so 28 plus 6 would be 34. And then I usually do about the equivalent of 3 other servings of this. So I'm already at 34, plus I'm adding 15 more grams of protein. That's already at, what would that be? 49 grams of protein for my breakfast. I'm pretty sure I did that math right. And like, it's definitely a decent sized breakfast and I have a big appetite. But even if you just did 1 serving of this with like, let's say 3 eggs, what did I say? There's 14 grams in here, and then 3 eggs would be 18. You're already getting like 32 grams of protein for your breakfast. Like, that's a solid amount. Because I would say, like, breakfast is typically the meal where it's gonna be hardest for you to get your protein. Because most people aren't having like a massive breakfast like you might do for like a lunch or a dinner. So getting this for breakfast, honestly, these 3 things are my favorite protein sources for breakfast. There are other protein sources. These are obviously not your only options, but this is what I typically eat for my breakfast. So the next thing, I'll do this one next. The next one, this is probably gonna be a shocker to see a pasta here, but this is Barilla's protein pasta. And genuinely, I combine this with a couple other things that I have in this bag. But for a typical pasta serving, you get, 10 grams of protein for a serving. Like, compared to regular pasta, I think in a regular thing of pasta, for a serving, you'd get 1 or 2 grams of protein. So getting up to 10 is massive. And now, that's not a lot. So let's say you had like 2 servings of this and that was your meal. And I will tell you, that is a lot of pasta. But that's already getting you to 20 grams of protein, which is definitely not enough for your entire meal. But when you combine it with other stuff in this bag, it allows you to get 20 extra grams of protein in very easily, especially if you're someone who likes pasta. So this has definitely been like a game changer for me, because it's just an easy way to get an extra, as I said, like 20 grams of protein in throughout the day. And you cannot tell the difference. Like genuinely, my parents eat this, one of my uncles eats this. Like you cannot tell the difference between this and regular pasta, like at all. So that is yet another one. Now I'm gonna jump to one of the first things that I do combine with this. But I will say it's gonna look weird on camera. That's because it was frozen in my freezer and I was saving it. So that's why it looks a little weird. But ground beef. Now, what type of ground beef you get, there's definitely differences. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not too tapped into what percentage you should be getting, like 75, 25, 90, 10, whatever. That's really just changing the amount of fat, I believe, that you're gonna be getting from it. So like the caloric content will probably change depending on which one you get. But besides the point, with ground beef, I believe if you use a serving, it's, I think 4 ounces of this, I think is, oh, it's on here, 18 grams of protein, yes. So 4 ounces of this is 18 grams of protein. Now, if I throw 4 ounces of this in with my pasta and almost try and make like a fake bolognese, because bolognese is like actually making a true bolognese, I just like add it in. But if that's 18 grams of protein from this, and then I get 20 from this, now I'm at 38 grams of protein. Now, that's not the most in the world, but that's definitely solid. And for a lot of people, that's going to be a solid amount of protein. Now, you could also add in 2 servings of this. Then you'd have 36 grams from this, 20 more from this, that'd be 56 grams of protein. And that's not counting the like little bits you'll grab from like the pasta sauce, probably has like a gram or 2 of protein, whatever it is. You could throw some cheese on top, which cheese is also a good like additional source of protein. It should never be your main protein source. There's not enough protein in it, but if you want to sprinkle a little cheese on top and get maybe 4 extra grams of protein or something, it's a little additional. So ground beef is another one. And ground beef, you can definitely get like, I would say like creative with this. Like this can be for tacos. This can be added in with your pasta. This could be, you could like make a pizza and put ground beef on top of it as like a topping. And there's like plenty of other things you could do with ground beef. Those are some of the common things that I do. But ground beef is another great protein source. The next one, let me do the other one that goes with the pasta. Let me find it. Okay. So the next one is going to be just some Italian sausage. Like this stuff is so easy to cook. You could do like a sausage and peppers with this. You could throw this in with your pasta, obviously, as I said. There's so many different good ways you can add this. And it doesn't have the nutrition facts on here, but if I remember correctly, each sausage link is like 180-ish calories, something like that, 150. And I think they have like 12 grams of protein per. I'll throw it up on screen just to check, but it's another great protein source. You can add it in with things like the pasta. It's easy to cook and just easy to get. Also, if you do have an Acme near you by chance, Acme does, at least the one by me, has a 4 for 20 deal. So I'm able to get, see where it says on here, the multi-deal pack, you get 4 of these packages, and no matter what you get, it does not matter, they're all $5 each. You just have to get 4. Which, if you're a gym rat, you go through it quick. Like this stuff lasts me, a 4 for 20 might last me like 3-4 days. Like that's it, because I'm eating so much. So that's another one. I'll leave these out. Next one is going to be possibly the most obvious one on this list, chicken. Like everyone knows chicken is a great protein source. Depending on if you get thighs or breast, it's gonna change the amount of calories in it. It changes how lean the meat actually is. But typically most chicken, a good like rule of thumb is gonna be, it's gonna be about 200 calories for 4 ounces with 20 grams of protein. Another great protein source, you add like 2 pieces of chicken into your meal, that's 40 grams of protein. Plus you get that little bit of supplemental from maybe like a cheese or whatever else you're eating. So there's gonna be small amounts of protein in most things you're eating. You do that and you're getting another great protein source. Chicken also is probably the one that's easiest because there's just so many different ways you can cook chicken that you could have it however you like it. Like it truly is, I think it's probably the most versatile food. So that's another great protein source. Next one is probably the least versatile one. I guess you can change the toppings, but is burgers. Don't think there's the facts on here. There's not. This is 80-20 ground beef to make these patties. If I had to guess, this is probably somewhere between like 18 to 22 grams of protein per serving. Probably 18 because it's the same ground beef. I know the leanness changed, but it's probably around 18 to 20. These are also easy because At least me, I'm never gonna eat just one burger. I'm gonna eat more than that. But if you are smaller and have a smaller appetite, the good thing is you'll need less protein in the day. This is just, as I said, it's another great protein source, probably like 200, 250 calories per patty. Gonna have a couple for me at least, especially while I'm trying to bulk. It's another great protein source. And the last one that I'm gonna show today, but there's obviously plenty of other protein sources, is a steak. And this one also was frozen, that's why it might look a little weird. So these are great in my opinion, because one, this is, the serving size for most things is typically 4 ounces. So let's say there's like 20 or 22 grams of protein in 4 ounces of this. This is 0.85 pounds. So if there's 16 ounces in a pound, there is somewhere around probably 13 to 14 ounces of steak right here. So you do the math on that. If there's 20 grams of protein in 4 ounces, you have like 13 to 14 ounces. This is gonna be about 20, 40, 60, around 70 grams of protein in this entire thing. Now, some of you might not be able to eat this whole thing, but even if you split it with someone, there's a lot of protein packed in this. Steak is a great way to get your protein, but you also have to know there's gonna be a lot of calories, because for 4 ounces of this, it's probably gonna be, if I had to guess, 200 to 250, probably 250 calories for about 4 ounces of this. Then you also might have like some butter that was in the pan or whatever in your side. So it's definitely gonna be a little more calorically dense depending on the volume you eat, but it's another great protein source. So these are a lot of the main protein sources that are in my diet, and they're all great ways of getting protein. I literally rotate through a lot of these and just start adding them to whatever. But these are not the only protein sources. These are just the ones that I typically eat the most. There are definitely some other ones. The only one that I do want to kind of like bust the myth would be peanut butter. Peanut butter is like an okay protein source, but for context, I looked at my roommate has some peanut butter in there. I don't really like peanut butter, so it helps that I don't think that highly of it. But it was 180 calories for 2 teaspoons, which is a serving, right? It was either 6 or 7 grams of protein in that. Comparatively to anything here, that is far, far less on like a per calorie basis. If you had 180 calories worth of chicken, that's gonna be like 18 to 20 grams of protein. So yes, you're getting some protein from it, and it definitely is nice, but it's a lot less. Or even if you compared it to like an egg, there's the same amount of protein, but for an egg, would it be about 1/3 of the calories? So like, don't get me wrong, proteins, it should be considered more of like a supplemental protein source, like a cheese would, rather than a good protein source, like a lot of the things I showed in front of you. Kind of like how the pasta is, where it's much more of like a supplemental protein source rather than a regular protein source. But I included this just because I know a lot of people like pasta, and just making the switch over will add in probably 16 to 18 grams of protein to your diet without you literally changing anything outside the pasta. But as I said, it tastes the exact same. All right. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you add in some of these protein sources because they're all absolutely delicious. And I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Catch you there.